So it's been no secret that the Philadelphia Flyers and the Vancouver Canucks have been linked in quite a few videos we have made over the past few weeks. I'm sorry, Flyers fans, I'll try to stop talking about Rick Tocchet once and for all at some point. But this is not necessarily a video about the Vancouver-turned-Philadelphia Flyers head coach. It's a video about players on both of these teams. In particular, I wanted to go over some comments made by Matvei Michkov that are actually really positive, and they are good. For the Vancouver Canucks, yes, that's right, Michkov spoke out about the Vancouver Canucks in a certain degree in a recent interview on the Hockey News. We're going to dive into that. We're also going to dive into Filip Chytil of the Vancouver Canucks and get into some recent commentary that he made as well in regards to his health status. It's a very positive Vancouver Canucks-related video with a little bit of Philadelphia flavor sprinkled in there. Michkov, 20 years old, 5'10", 176, just wrapped up his first season in the National Hockey League with 63 points in 80 games. I don't know about you, but most 60-point guys are seen as pretty good. And Matvei Michkov did all of this at the ripe old age of 19 turning 20. He's going to be a stud, isn't he? This guy is totally going to become the face of the franchise for Philadelphia as long as Rick Tocchet doesn't reprogram his brain. Okay, I should stop saying that. I know he said that for PD, but he's not going to say that about everybody, right? Here's the thing. There was an interview published by Jonathan Bailey on the Hockey News yesterday in regards to Matvei Michkov and how he compares his first NHL game to PlayStation. This article will be linked in the description. We're not going to go over everything in it. We're just going to go over some of the juicy Vancouver Canucks-related quotes here, because Michkov does have some pretty interesting things to say. Even for players like Philadelphia Flyers star Matvei Michkov, making your first NHL appearance can be a little frazzling. Michkov made his debut on October 11th, playing off against Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, Quinn Hughes, and reigning Jack Adams winner and his new head coach, Rick Tocchet. Things didn't go the Canucks' way last season, of course, but it's always a challenge going up against guys like that. In an interview with just gonna say Ice, can't read those letters unfortunately, Michkov reflected on his first regular season game with the Flyers, offering up some comedic but very real insights on his experience. When I went out against Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson, it was like I was playing on a PlayStation. The players were skating around me. My head was spinning. I didn't understand where I was at all. Even the light was falling in the rink differently. Everything was different, Michkov recounted. I was under the impression when I was still doing the rookie lap. I thought, damn, where did I end up? It was such a pleasant excitement. Michkov ultimately played 1832, third amongst all Flyers forwards, recording 4 shots on goal, taking a hooking penalty in the first period, and drawing a tripping penalty from Filip Chytil in the second period. And now I'm starting to think about the very first game that Matvei Michkov played in the NHL. I was in Vegas, I think, watching it on my laptop via a service that I probably shouldn't be talking about. Vancouver versus Philadelphia. I think the Canucks were coming off of a really bad loss against Calgary, and then they had this trip. Is that correct? Something like that? But Michkov had his first NHL game against Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson, and he was like, yeah, they're skating around me, my head was spinning, I didn't understand where I was at all. For all the bad that the Vancouver Canucks went through in 24-25, you gotta feel at least a little bit happy that some of their players can still have that effect on the opposition. Michkov, if you go over to his very first NHL game against the Vancouver Canucks, he didn't have any points, but he did have those penalty minutes that he had served, and he played 1832. The Canucks ended up losing that one in a shootout. I believe they had a lead in that one too, and then they blew it. It was like Bruce Boudreau level bad with that overall assessment, I think. I forgot, but Vancouver got goals from Teddy Bluger and Nils Höglander, and the Flyers got goals from Tyson Forrester and Cam York, ultimately losing in a shootout to, I believe it was Morgan Frost. But Michkov, I think there's a lot of optimism for Michkov heading into the next few years. And it all started here, in a game against Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes, where he was kind of spinning his head around. Now, let's continue here. There are some other things that are talked about. The game started. The first period was a little bit shaky, but the second and third periods were more or less played. They even trusted me to shoot the penalty shot, the shootout, though I didn't score. But it gave me even more of a push and motivation for the next game to concentrate and really start scoring on passing and helping the team. Ultimately, the Russian phenom finished his rookie season by leading all rookies in goals while tying Macklin Celebrini for the second most points amongst rookies. Pretty good season, I'd say. Now, let's shift our gears over to the Vancouver Canucks and talk about another hockey news article that was published today by Derek O'Brien. This is an interview with Canucks center Filip Chytil, and how he's 100% healthy now. Knock on wood, of course. Let's go out there and read this over here. In an interview with... Okay, let's pause the video first. In an interview with Pavel Mandat of Hockey.cz, the 25-year-old Filip Chytil spoke out about the mid-season blockbuster trade that sent him from the New York Rangers to the Vancouver Canucks and the whirlwind few days that followed, his health, the coming season, and how he's adjusting to life on a new team and in a new city. This is a really deep dive into Filip Chytil and his overall status as a Vancouver Canuck. I don't think we have enough time to go over everything here, but let's just go over some of the highlights. Changing teams after 7.5 years must have been strange in a way. Chytil replies, "It was. When you spend that much time somewhere, it becomes part of your life. On the other hand, the momentum and the new environment can be good for you. So I'm happy to be part of the Canucks. The facilities here are great, and the same goes for the people in the organization." Hear that, Rick Tocchet? The facilities in Vancouver are great. You don't necessarily... Okay, we're not going to go down the path of needing or not needing a practice facility. What was the case with your trade situation? It was a whirlwind, he said. I had a morning workout in New York, then we flew to Boston, where the next day we had an early game against the Bruins. I came back from the gym and I started getting messages that a trade was going to happen. Agents called me, then GMs. So the next morning I flew back to New York, where I had to pick up my passport, and the next day I played a game in Vancouver. So it was a real rush. There was actually no time to think about it. Then, in your first game for Vancouver, he scores a goal. Oh, yes, that was crazy, man. His very first goal as a Canuck against the Detroit Red Wings in his very first few shots as a Vancouver Canuck. That's great. Let's go out there and take a look at the injury update, though. This is the meat and potatoes, and it's why we're making this video about Filip Chytil. After a decent start to your time in Vancouver, you suffered a concussion that ruled you out for the rest of the year. How difficult was that period? It was very difficult, Chytil said. A concussion is an injury that is not visible to you at first glance. For example, if you have a broken arm, everyone can see it right away, and everyone knows what to do. Head injuries are tricky. That's why communication with those closest to you is very important. You can't be afraid to confide in them so that those closest to you know how you're feeling. The support from my family, from my wife and my friends has helped me a lot. Are you 100% healthy today? Fortunately, yes, knock on wood. I've been getting ready for the new season full-time since the beginning of May. And so, let's just hope that this continues for the rest of the year, right? Filip Chytil is penciled in as the Vancouver Canucks second-line center, and he is the guy that I think Vancouver management believes can be a second-line center if everything goes right. But that's the thing, if everything goes right, he needs to be healthy, he needs to be available. You can't fully rely on him to be that at this time, which is why the Canucks are still looking for more center help at the moment. But if Filip Chytil is fully healthy, and if he's able to play something that he's never done before, 82 games in an NHL season, then I think we could be on the cusp of something great here in Vancouver. So, Flyers fans, Canucks fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Matvei Michkov's commentary on Pettersson and Hughes? How do you feel about Filip Chytil and his health status being back up to 100%? Do you believe it? Do you not? Do you believe it when you see it? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.